Greetings and welcome back, everybody, to another session with Michael in Germany on The Science is the New Religion. Yes, Michael, we are on session 37, Greece part 6, medicine part 2, and I'm all ears.
Hello, Brent. Hello, dear listeners. We have to rush through the script because we have so many pages ahead of us, and so that we start there where we have left last time. I don't know when you have heard last time, but last time for us was last Sabbath. As usual, it is Sabbath, the 4th of September.
Oh, thank you, Michael. Yes, 4th of September 2021 for the record.
2021, yeah, correct. Yeah.
You know, it's so strange, Michael, if you don't mind me adding, you know, YouTube is going through this thing right now. This is great. Check out this cartoon that Michael sent all of us here from a friend of his. And yeah, I wonder why I don't hear the shepherd. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's such a great cartoon. But anyway, I just wanted to quick elaborate that, you know, isn't it interesting how YouTube is going through this thing where, you know, they're trying to limit everyone's speech on what they can say and what they cannot say. And they're deleting channels that question the official blah, 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 you know, on blah, blah. And that's all, you know what? It's the Gnosticism, man. It's just, Michael, when you research the history behind it, it's just so huge you can't ignore it. But, you know, history's boring, right? Well, yeah, it isn't really boring once you know your Bible, once you're a born-again believer and you start recognizing how doctrine is used and how false doctrine has been used for centuries. And in fact, we might actually hold some of that false doctrine in our bosoms. But what does it say in Scripture? It says that, can a fire, how did that go? Can a man take fire into his bosom and his clothes not be burned? God forbid we take fire into our bosom, Michael. But yeah, my sheep listen to my voice. I know them and they follow me. John 10:27. It says at the bottom of this cartoon.
Yeah, so the people actually don't have any time to read the Bible because they are bombarded by information on the television on the left or on the laptop in the middle or on the radio, by the radio on the right side, or even with headphones. And so he has absolutely no time to read the Bible or to hear the shepherd's voice. And that's why we are fighting back a little bit. We have to do our work by using the monitor, by using the laptop or using the smartphone, wherever you might hear us.
Or even just the little iPod with our audio on it.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
Mm-hmm. So after that introduction, last time we were talking about these guys who never existed. That was Asclepius, the man with the staff of the serpent staff, the one who tames the snake. Yep.
Yeah, looks like a friendly snake, Michael.
Yeah, on the outside they're all friendly. Yeah. But on the right side, we got somebody who's a little bit new. She's very old and she never existed also. But let me introduce you on our
legend. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Let me introduce you. Her name is Hygiea, and she's got not a planet, but she's got an asteroid. Wow. That's something, huh? That's something. It has something to do with the Greek mythology, all these so-called asteroids, not planet, but a little bit smaller. It's 434 kilometers in diameter. On circumference, I don't know what it is in just. It's about the size of a big island. Yeah. So this is an asteroid of Hygiea. This is her, Hygiea, depicted in Germany. Wow, looks impressive, huh? It looks impressive. What's Hygiea? Well, Hygiea could also be a software. A software? Huh? Yeah, a software about an old ancient kind of goddess. And she's feeding the snake. You see the resemblance between Aesculapius or Esculap or what else and her? Yeah? She's got a snake habit too. And Hygiea, for example, nowadays in 2021, it's a technology, it's an app, an application. Nobody knows what application is. They all call app. Yeah? Hygiea is a health coach who works 24/7 for your happy and healthy life. Yeah, talking about not having any responsible for your own life, you have to use technology, huh? You blinded me with science. Okay, but what is Hygiea actually? Well, the few people here, the distributors of that software, they say that even if you are healthy but looking ahead for improvement in lifestyle, you could need to be with her. So she's a she, not he's a she, but she is she. So she's female, Hygiea. So
say Michael, I have a comment about that that statue. There was a photo, a close-up of this so-called serpent, and it looks a lot to me like, doesn't that look like a goose or something?
Yeah, like a duck.
Yeah.
Like a duck.
What is up with that?
Well, I don't know, but she's usually depicted with a snake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So let me
doing the old switcheroo on us here, huh?
You see, maybe the sculptor has a bad day or a Monday. I don't know. Yeah, but or actually he misused his art. I don't know. But Hygiea means a goddess of good health and cleanliness and sanitation. A goddess. Wow. Oh, that's some. It's a 1st century Roman statue of a goddess feeding the serpent. So what's the difference between a serpent and a snake? Actually, both are snakes. A serpent is a large snake, but the word is mostly used in literary context or in history context or in Bible contexts. So serpent means snake. Very important information. His parents are Asclepius. Oh, where do we know him from? Asclepius. Oh, okay. So she's the daughter of Asclepius. She has something to do with that medical household. She has been brought up by somebody who also never existed. So all is blah, blah in mythology. But it's very, very, very important that we see where it all comes from. And now be surprised. In Greek as well as Roman mythology. Baba. You see the mingling of everything together in tradition or in mythology. There's no clean separation between the Greek and the Roman Empire. Once again. One of the Asclepidae, so the daughter, the sons and daughters of the god of medicine, Asclepius, and his wife Epione. Hygiea was the goddess or the personification of health, cleanliness, and hygiene. It's a very, very utmost important subject these days, let me tell you, hygiene. We wash your brain and you wash your hands, no? Something like that. Hygiea and her 4 sisters each performed a facet of Apollo's art. So I'm not bothering you with the whole context here. Hygiea also played an important part in her father's cult, means religious worship. While her father was more directly associated with healing, she was associated with the prevention of sickness and the continuation of good health. Her name is the source for the word hygiene. And there you know where it all came from. Everything else which is bombarded on television, what you have to wash your hands, you have to keep safe, blah, 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 comes all from the Greek mythology. And even that Greek mythology is all just fairy tales. Hygiea was important by the Romans as the goddess Valetudo, the goddess of personal health, but in time she started to be increasingly identified with the ancient Italian goddess of social welfare. You see that it's all is interconnected. At Athens, so the capital of Greece, Hygiea was the subject of a local cult, so she was being worshipped too, from at least 7th century before Christ. So before the Greek Empire took over. Meaning, if that is correct, because citation is needed here, got no source for that, but he or she is about to exist even before the Greek Empire took over from the Medo-Persian Empire. Huh? Interesting, huh? How old are these habits? These habits here, and I don't want to make it longer than needed here. There was a plague of Athens, which is also usually nowadays been reported as it could be the smallpox virus. Yeah, so here the plague of Athens was about 430 before Christ, estimated to kill 75,000 to 100,000 people. But you see, we cannot recall which is which, because there were some conditions of unclean water in the old ancient times. So we cannot go into that unless we would have to study that subject, and we don't have not the time to do that. This is just a general overview of where it all started. Yeah, so that people actually, they trusted man more than God in the terms of medicine and in the terms of precaution, because Hygiea means it's about hygiene. So it's about the prevention of getting a disease or getting an illness. If there is any reason at all in this, you see that washing your hands is quite usual and logic, but you can overdo it also, and that would mean that that you got a severe more skin problem if you wash your hands too often. But you see that people nowadays, they don't look at that. The thing is that the doctors or the medicine now refer to ancient god called Asclepius and an ancient goddess called Hygiea. Yeah, and so you see there where the demigod as the description of a doctor is coming from. Yeah, this is a website called Doctor's Day Special Viewpoint from Demigod to Devil. Very appropriate these days. So that many doctors, they have a problem. They think themselves of a very big authority against their clients. And so many clients do not have any trust in their doctors, because their doctors, they speak in an old dead language, so-called Latin, not by accident, but for a very good reason, because the Roman Empire took over the Greek Empire, and therefore everybody who seems to be educated is speaking Latin in medicine. That's a very big problem, that the doctors, they don't have any more close contact to the patients, but they don't have any time, and they're being restricted by law, and so they don't take their time, and they speak in a dead language. And many people cannot trust the doctors because they are operating in an antichrist system, in medicine, because medicine, when it comes down to the snake of Hygiea and of Asclepius, means it is an antichrist system. We talked about it extensively last time. So you cannot expect to have a Christian doctor when the doctor itself has to serve an antichrist system, which is the medical system. In the entire world, it is not restricted to Germany or USA or what else. Yeah. So when they are being bound to worship the old ancient Greece goddess, what would you expect if you compare it to the Old Testament and the Ten Commandments?
Exodus chapter 20, verse 1, and God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
Yeah. So no Asclepius and no Hygiea. And it gets even worse. Let me assure you. For example, this is the chemical multiplayer, the big player, the biggest pharmaceutical company in the world of the 1930s in Germany and in Europe and in the entire world, called IG Farben. The chemical giant IG Farben Nazi scientists and chemical giant. These were the people who were behind the, yeah, you guess it, huh? The gassing of people and eugenics and all this stuff. This is German, big, huge company, IG Farben. And there was a trial after the Second World War where many of these responsible people who were ordering tests on people, who were ordering euthanasia and gas and genocide, etc., 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 for their own benefit, and there was a trial against them. And interesting enough, I'm not going into the trial now, just look at the headlines of the picture. What's it called? They called themselves, and they have been called, the Council of the Gods, because they choose between life and death. This is just 90 years ago. It's not that long time ago. Council of the Gods. We're talking about scientists and chemicals. Yeah, what to expect, huh? What to expect? What to expect from the future when everything we are going into here is history? So it has happened. It has happened. Please allow me that I cannot go into this subject elaborately, because I'm German, and the thing that I want to point out is that they have been called the Council of the Gods.
Ooh, Michael.
Yeah.
I think the Council of the Gods has transferred hands from Germany to the United States government.
There were many scientists handed over by the Operation Paperclip. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, sure.
There's our proof.
Absolutely.
Right there.
Absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Need we say any more? You know, this is the thing, Michael, if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
I have a neighbor here, and, you know, I do love my neighbors myself. But, you know, when you think that somehow Donald Trump is going to be able to save this country, I got a problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
I got a big problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, imagine if all our neighbors could just grasp the enormity of accepting the leadership of you know, the wickedest part of Nazi Germany into the United States, and having dealt with that for how many years now, Michael? 70 years?
Mm-hmm. At least, yeah.
How much it's evolved since then.
And how much is forgotten.
Ooh,
how much people forget, yeah. So I you see that I don't want to cut you short, but
please do.
The thing is that I just wanted to express that these demigods called the doctors and this so-called Council of Gods with the scientists and chemicals from IG Farben, for example, this is just an example that it went down from history, from the Greeks to the modern times, that they see themselves as gods, Council of the Gods. And there is no distinction and there is no difference actually to the situation in 2021.
No.
And it all comes down to false idols and worshipping of pagan gods. This is the temple of Asclepius, the sanctuary in Epidaurus. The main holy site. The sanctuary was the rival of such major cult sites at Zeus at Olympia. Yeah? Olympia, anybody? Didn't we had Olympia in 2021? And Apollo at Delphi, etc. You see? If still used by the 4th century AD, the temple would have been closed during the persecutions of pagans in the late Roman Empire, when the Christian emperors issued edicts. Roman Catholic emperors issued edicts prohibiting non-Christian worship. You see, what we are talking about myth. Pausanias described the myth around the foundation of the temple. We are speaking of Asclepius. We are speaking about the guy where all the so-called modern medicine has been derived from officially. because they are using his symbol with the snake around the staff, as well as its religious significance to the worship of Asclepius in the 2nd century, 2,200 plus years ago. This Pausanias described, oh, this is the temple, and accompanied by the doctor Coronis, the mother of Asclepius, we went into that, who all along had kept hidden from her father that she was with child by Apollo. So unfaithful. Okay, so, or not okay. Then she bore a son called Asclepius and exposed him on the mountain called Tition, nipple, at the present day, but then named Myrtion, etc., 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 blah, 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 blah. And then again, when Arcasias, the son of Aristachemosus, nobody can pronounce that name, was healed in Epidaura after spraining himself after hunting about Pindasius, he brought the cult to Pergamon in Asia Minor. Does that remind you of something? Pergamon in Asia Minor? It's the same as Pergamus in Wikipedia. And it's not the ancient town of Crete. Yeah, there are several towns of that name, but we're talking about Asia Minor. Yeah? In Greek mythology, Pergamus was the son of the warrior Neoptolemus and Andromache. It is said, so legend has it, rumors, that Andromache returned to Asia Minor with her youngest son Pergamus, who is there founded the town named after himself. Pergamus or Pergamos is the name of the citadel of Troy in Homer's Iliad. What a coincidence, but once again, Greek mythology, once again. And it is here that the cult of Asclepius was brought to Pergamon in Asia Minor. Now look at Revelation 2 in the King James Bible, Brett.
Revelation 2 reads, verse 12, and the angel of the church of Pergamos write, these things saith he, which hath the sharp sword with 2 edges. I know thy works, and I know where thou dwellest, even where Satan's seat is, and thou holdest fast my name, and hast not denied my faith, even in those days wherein Antipas was my faithful martyr, who was slain among you, where Satan dwelleth. But I have a few things against thee, because thou hast there them that hold the doctrine of Balaam, which taught Balak to cast stumbling blocks before the children of Israel, to eat things sacrificed unto idols, and to commit fornication.
So I hope you get my train of thoughts here. When there was a cult of Asclepius, with the sanctuary of Asclepius, sacred to Asclepius, etc., 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 etc. Yeah, and then the son of Aristachemosus was healed in Epidaura, so at the temple of Asclepius, after spraining himself and hunting about Pindasius. He brought the cult of Asclepius to Pergamon, which is the Pergamos in the King James Bible, Revelation 2, where Satan's seat is.
Michael, I must say, alarm bell ringing.
With what animal is Satan depicted on earth? It's a snake, it's a serpent once again. So I hope I made it absolutely clear that medicine is the worship, or the medicine of this world is the worship of pagan images and idols, which is even described here in the verse 14. Verse 14, eat things sacrificed unto idols and to commit fornication. And even there, Antipas, the faithful murderer, was slain, where Satan dwelled. How big and how obvious you like to have it. That is medicine. That is the cult of Asclepius also in Pergamos. Please do your own research. That was my research. And I said, bing, 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 big alarm bell. Yeah, because that's the same symbol. Yeah, Adam and Eve in paradise with the serpent. Yeah, so there you got the snake. And now you got the symbol of Asclepius. Asclepius. Asklepios, so the Greek name, not the Latin name, but Asklepios. Yeah, yeah, you see the staff of Asklepios with the snake too. Here is the snake around the tree. There is the snake around the tree. Case solved, huh? So I could stop here with medicine because you know that everything which has been derived from there must be anti-Christian against the Bible, because they are playing with things, and not by accident pharmakeia means sorcery. It means sorcery because all the doctors, the medicine, are using and worshipping pagan images and idols in the form of Asclepius or in the form of Hygiea, etc., etc. And I can promise you, Brett and dear listeners, it gets even worse. What about 2021? Has nothing to do with Moses, I can tell. Has everything to do with Asclepius. Yeah, you see, the rod of Asclepius, not the rod of Moses. So this is a depiction.
Yes, Michael, if you don't mind, just simple indoctrination is what this is. Using the Bible and misleading the people into a different doctrine.
Yeah, but the snake doesn't bring wisdom. He brings death.
Of course, but that's the subtle trick.
That's a subtle trick. Yeah, what about cancer? Cancer treatment. Huh? Chemical cancer treatment also, it's pure poison. It's pure poison. That's also pharmakeia. This is Adam and Eve once again. This is the tarot card 15 called the devil. What do we see here? Adam and Eve with 2 horns and chained. So the devil, huh? The devil. That's all behind what's behind it. This is the Crowley tarot deck. Not by accident, you see here Egyptian mythology. Yeah, and not everything else. Yeah, we could go into the interpretation of it, but you see that Crowley was a world-class Satanist, and also his own students or his the buyers of his book, he's misleading. Yeah, so subtle and so dubious this character was. Yeah. Lucifer plays the role of bringing light. Yeah, okay, you see, Lucifer is the one who brings the light. Ask Lucifer's trust. Yeah, they will say, oh, you have to meditate, spiritual exercises. Yeah, the background of the devil tarot card. Once again, it's all about third eye. It's all about Egyptian mythology. It's all about the devil. Yeah. By Crowley, the devil thought tarot shows the dark side of God, yeah, the dark side of moon, huh? The dark side of God, the soul that created the world. Represented by a black crow or male goat with horns. Yeah, which God? Huh? The God of this world? Not the Almighty God. Scapegoat, collective darkness. You see that it's all mixed up between psychology and occultism. The God of light and the God of death. You see, you got doctrine here. You will be tossed around and turned around, and that's the promise of the serpent. Once again, I think we know that from memory, Brett. Yeah, ye shall not surely die. That's what medicine always says. Oh yeah, we can prolong the life. Oh yeah, men want to be like gods, huh? Ye shall be as gods. That's a promise of the serpent which he cannot fulfill because he's not in the position to do so. You believe a serpent rather than God? You find that intelligent to listen to a serpent instead of an almighty God? My. You see, I'm quoting Crowley here, and you see it's always the same doctrine. It's always doctrine. Yeah, he got a Uranus snake, and always it's a snake, and a Kundalini, the power of the snakes. Yeah, you see, it's always the Kundalini is an ancient Indian, Tibetan kind form of worship of the snake, which is the snake should be, you see here in the spine. Yeah, you see that it's all the same. And we have also two snakes with it. If there are two snakes, then you got a caduceus. That's the same with the medical corpse. Yeah, but that is a Hermes staff. We're talking about what else than Greek mythology once again. My. Yeah. You see, I could get in every little details, but you see that sometimes it's so easy. Yeah, but people are too busy. Yeah. If you say them the outcome or the solution of it, yes, no, thanks, I got no time. I have to study medicine. I have to study this. I have to read that book. I have to read that book. But they don't read the Bible because they are too busy watching television, smartphone, laptop.
Oh yeah, Michael, if you don't mind me making a comment, this is great. This reminded me of a while back, when Jörg Listman was doing that reading of Rulers of Evil, and I just thought to myself, oh yeah, you know what I got to do is go and talk to some young people that are going to college, and tell them all about this, yeah, right. They would look at me like I am absolutely I can't say the phrase on here. It's just not appropriate. You get the point. I'm pretty sure people can fill in the blanks there.
I have accompanied a friend of mine who was about to die in the hospital. I visited him several times about 3 years ago, and he had cancer in the last stadium. And he got chemical treatment twice. And after the second treatment, he was so ill that they had to use morphium. So what it's about drugs. And only the learned people, so the doctors, the educated ones, they are administered and they're allowed to get to order drugs. But still, they are drugs. It's pure poison. But as long as they are administered by a doctor, it's legally. The Greek definition, pharmakeia, means sorcery and drugs. Okay, let's move on. The New Testament Greek word translated sorcery is pharmakeia, which is the source of our English word pharmacy. Sorcery is an attempt to bypass God's wisdom and power and give glory to Satan instead. God has no tolerance for sorcery. Malachi also speaks of God's judgment on those involved in sorcery, and I won't tell this sentence because I haven't looked it up. But once again, this is the coming age, and here you see a kadokeos. Here you see the same symbol, or nearly identical symbol, as the staff, which is the medical corps of the United States Army using. So a snake once again. We're talking about Satanism here, no doubt about it. That's a Baphomet statue. And we didn't know that hell had good health care. And so you can look it up on yourself. Yeah, but it's always the same. Everybody who's making the point that medicine will help you, well, it helps at least the doctor and the industry, because they are making money big time. It's all about the love of the money. For the love of money is the root of all evil. That's the first one. For the material thing, not for the spiritual realm. In the spiritual arena, on a spiritual approach, you see, it's the work of Satan, deluding and blinding the minds of people by fear. It's a fear mongering. Yeah. So these Pausanias, who also was talking about the temple of Aesculape and Pergamos, was counted a bath of Asclepius and a sanctuary of the gods called Bountiful. He made also a temple to Hygiea, Asclepius, and Apollon. This is the sun god. The last two surnamed Aegyptios, Egyptian. You see, everything will be mingled around. Greco-Egyptian, like the Greco-Egyptian magical papyri, or the Roman Greco, because the god of Hygiea is the same in Greek as in Rome. Yeah? The temple had major religious importance in the cult of Asclepius. Sorry that I cut it short, but we are very limited amount of time to go into such big things. We could do several sessions about it, but you see, this is science, the new religion. This is not a pure medical session here. Just I gave you some hints, and if you are interested in that subject, I promise there will be much more about medicine coming in when we are going into the Middle Ages and the recent times, just to have some words, to have some sources where you could look after, and you see the biblical reference of Pergamos, and you see where it comes down to the Garden of Eden, etc., etc. Yeah. So from there on, you are educated enough, and I think you are old and hopefully wise enough to make your own conclusions. I think that what's really important is that you discover things for yourself. You don't listen to every word I say, because I could be wrong too. But do your own research. And I have researched, and I came up to the conclusion that all our total health system has been has the foundation on these old pagan beliefs, and it is also before the Greek Empire took over. We learned about the 7th century, and I could assure you that it goes much back. Because everybody, even Eve, listened to the serpent instead of God. When the serpent promised Eve, "You shall not surely die," yeah, then what's that other than a consultation that he says, no, God is wrong, and you will not die if you eat this, take this medicine of the fruit of the forbidden tree. Okay. If you think I'm far-fetched, then yeah, you can judge yourself. You can read so many things. Pausanias, so the writer, described how serpents were considered sacred to the god on the sides. The serpent, including a peculiar kind of a yellowish color, are considered sacred to Asclepius and are tame with man. Interesting, huh? So here's the quote of that book. Pausanias' description of Greece. Okay, let's get back. The temple could not have been in function to a later date than the 4th or 5th century, when all pagan shrines were closed during the persecutions of pagans in the late Roman Empire. You see, not Christian, Roman Empire. Okay, because they wanted you worship their gods. So we talked a lot about of Asclepius, the Greek Asclepius, the Latin Aesculapius, or the Greco-Roman god of medicine. You see, once again, mingled together here. God of healing truth. Oh, I got my problems with that. Yeah, and prophecy, and the mortal princess Coronis. Ever heard Coronis? The centaur Chiron, which has out of the blue discovered for astrology about 30, 40, 50, 80, 60 years ago, at least in the 20th century, I cannot remember the correct time now, taught him the art of healing. Zeus, the king of gods, afraid that Asclepius might render all men immortal, "Ye shall surely not die," remember, for the Bible, slew him with a thunderbolt. Remember of Luke 10:18 read, "Behold, I saw Satan fall like a lightning from sky," said Jesus Christ. Apollo slew the Cyclops who had made the thunderbolt and was then forced by Zeus to serve Admetus. Yeah, so much the legend. Every time you see Asclepius, he has the snake. Yeah, but you see, the snake here is tame on the outside, on the exoteric. On the esoteric, it's the snake who gives his power to him. Because, of course, he's a god, but when he's a god, why does he need a snake?
Oh, this reminds me of the power of influence, Michael.
He needs the snake because it is a symbol, yeah, to mock Moses. Yeah, to say that, oh, I'm the pagan one who can heal people. That's my hypothesis, okay? But you see that the snake is the serpent, and the snake is the person or the animal equivalent of Satan on earth. So if Satan possesses a spirit, he possessed the serpent in the Garden of Eden. Serpent with a hiss. Homer in the Iliad mentioned him only as skillful physician and at Troy, Machaon and Podalirius. In later times, however, he was the father of 2 Greek doctors, honored as a hero and eventually worshipped as a god. Aha! You see, to make it a little bit more realistic, he had to come with the idea that he actually existed and then he became a god. Why? The cult began in Thessalia, but spread to many parts of Greece. I thought Thessalonica, but I don't want to look it up now. Because it was supposed that Asclepius effected cures of the sick and dreams, the practice of sleeping in his temple in Epidaurus in South Greece became common. In 293 before Christ, his cult spread to Rome, where he was worshipped as Asclepius. Yeah, it's the same thing. It's the same. Asclepius was frequently represented standing dressed in a long cloak with bare breast. His usual attribute was a staff with a serpent coiled around it. This staff is the only true symbol of medicine. Congratulations! You are worshipping a pagan god. Images and idols of stone. A similar but unrelated emblem, the caduceus, with its wing staff and intertwined serpents, is frequently used as a medical emblem, but it is without medical relevance, since it represents the magic wand of Hermes or Mercury, the messenger of the gods and the patron of trade. Bam, you got it right in your face. Right in your face. And it hurts, I hope. Hermes is the Greek name of the same messenger of the gods in the Roman Empire called Mercury. Remember Freddie Mercury of Queen? The messenger of the gods and the patron of trade. The magic wand. What does that tell you? The magic wand consists of a staff and intertwined serpents. A tree to make some wise. And Satan used the serpent to deceive the people. Sorcery. A snake, a serpent, Nashash. Strong's Concordance has translated it a snake from his hiss, whispering like a magic spell. I'm absolutely sure that Satan used magic, quote unquote, before the Magi existed, magic, sorcery, to deceive Eve. And Eve fell for it. She didn't know magic. She didn't know, she couldn't get it. She couldn't comprehend that was a kind of strange animal who was being so wise. And the serpent was more subtle than any other beasts of the field, because Satan had possessed the animal. So that everybody who has a snake in his symbol, except Moses, who did that on a purpose, everybody here in the Asclepian tribe, means they are using a symbol of Satan which is more subtle than any other beast of the fields. And Eve also lied, but if he would go and do that, we would never finish. It's important to know that this staff of Asclepius is the staff of a pagan god and has a serpent. And the second one is the caduceus. It's the staff, represents the magic wand of Hermes, the messenger of the gods. So, either way around, you're serving a pagan god. It's coming from the editors of the Encyclopedia Britannica. Okay? I'm not making it up. I have looked it up. This is Hippocrates, of course. Also known as Hippocrates, the Greek physician at the age of Pericles, who is considered one of the most outstanding figures in the history of medicine. He is traditionally referred as the so-called father of medicine. Oh, bread.
Matthew 23, verse 9. And call no man your father upon the earth, for one is your Father which is in heaven.
Yeah, so much for tradition. Thank you. In recognition of his last contributions to the field, such as the use of prognosis and clinical observation, the systematical categorization of diseases, or the formulation of humoral theory, the Hippocratic school of medicine revolutionized ancient Greek medicine, establishing it as a discipline distinct from the other fields with which it had traditionally been associated, theory and philosophy, thus establishing medicine as a profession. However, the achievements of the writers of the corpus, the practitioners of Hippocratic medicine, and the actions of Hippocrates himself were often conflated. Thus, very little is known, rumor has it, legend, about what Hippocrates actually thought, wrote, and did. Once again, there is no proof. Hippocrates is commonly portrayed as the paragon of the ancient physician and credited with coining the Hippocratic Oath, which is still relevant and in use today. He is also credited with greatly advancing the systematic study of clinical medicine, summing up the medical knowledge of previous schools and prescribing practices for physicians through the Hippocratic corpus and other works. What do we know about the Hippocratic Oath, which is still relevant and in use today?
Matthew 5, verse 32 says, "But I say unto you that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication, causeth her to commit adultery. And whosoever shall marry her that is divorced, committeth adultery." That's a tough one, Michael. "Again, ye have heard that it hath been said by them of old time, Thou shalt not forswear thyself, but shalt perform unto the Lord thine oaths. But I say unto you, swear not at all, neither by heaven, for it is God's throne, nor by the earth, for it is his footstool, neither by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great King. Neither shalt thou swear by thy head, because thou canst not make one hair white or black."
Yeah, so what is left of medicine? You're worshipping pagan gods, Asclepius, Hygiea, or you are swearing a Hippocratic oath to a person who most likely has never existed, and you are not about to swear to anybody if you are a Christian. So what does that leave? The medical system is absolutely anti-Christian. So what do you expect? That they want your best, that they love you, they won't protect you, and they will heal you? You should run. The Hippocratic Oath is absolutely against the Bible. So what do you expect from your medical doctor? To understand you in your Christian faith? To be a servant of Jesus Christ? Hippocratic Oath, which is still relevant and in use today. Yeah. So you see that all the so-called facts about Hippocrates, Serrano said Hippocrates was probably, Plato suggests several different accounts of his death exist. He died probably in Larissa at the age of 83 or 85 or 90. So some say he lived to be well over 100. Useless. 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 Some say it's the same with Socrates. Or similar.
Man.
Hippocrates is credited with being the first person to believe that diseases were caused naturally, not because of superstition and gods. Hippocrates was credited by the disciples of Pythagoras of allying philosophy and medicine. He separated the discipline of medicine from religion. Ha ha ha. Yeah. You think he did that, huh? He did that by using a Hippocratic oath. And medicine today is still using the Aesculap staff and the Caduceus. Yeah, I don't believe anything about it. Anything about it. Hippocrates did work with many convictions that were based on what is now known to be incorrect anatomy and physiology, such as humorism. Huh. So, now known to be incorrect. But what was it here? The Hippocratic Oath is still relevant and in use today. Huh. Great. But we found that many of his convictions were incorrect. Huh. So we don't care. Huh? As long as we can swear. You see, I'm getting not sick of it, but you see, I don't see the point. If you don't see the point, if you see the point, then I got the point that I don't need any point, so that I will skip that.
Yeah, Michael, it's what can we say? Pathetic?
Yeah. Hippocratic medicine was humble and passive. The therapeutic approach was based on, quote, the healing power of nature. According to this doctrine.
In Latin.
Yeah, in Latin, yeah.
Laugh. I can't help but laugh.
Yeah. According to this doctrine, the body contains within itself the power of rebalance the four humors and heal itself. Yeah, so what do you need doctors for? And why do the people swear? Why do they swear? Yeah, so it's just Wikipedia here, so you can look it up for yourself. Legends, huh? Would you like to have another legend? Okay. The Travels of Sir John Mandeville reports incorrectly, once again, that Hippocrates was the ruler of the islands of Kos and Lagos, and recounts a legend about Hippocrates' daughter. She was transformed into a 100-foot-long dragon by the goddess Diana, and that's when I was falling flat on my face.
Yeah.
What a coincidence! There could be no other animal than snakes and dragons, huh? My. What legend and rumors had it. But the statue of Hippocrates is still in front of the main medical school in Brisbane. That is, as far as I know, in Australia. So they are worshipping somebody here. Hippocrates. Yeah, medical school, of course. Huh? Medical school. Okay. So let's skip it here. We have to skip something. We have to work.
Well, let's say they're being influenced at the least, and promoted to worship would be more probably accurate, Michael, because I think young people by nature don't sit and worship statues.
They don't know it because this is their role model or their idol. You see that?
Yeah. Well, it can be. That's right. It's possible, but to say
they don't go down, but they are being thrown down to the Broadway because they want to make it in the life, and so they are being bombarded with the number of pagan gods who never existed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is the problem, Michael. As we get older, we have less and less tolerance, but the youth are very, happy-go-lucky kind of people. What can we say? And they're going to stumble and fall sometime in their lives. They
want to establish
God willing.
Yeah, of course, they want to establish themselves a position in the society, and so they have to make friends. And how to make friends? Yeah, if everybody is in the same mindset, then you make friends. These are no real friends, but you don't realize that because you are in the mindset of their pagan god system, of the Antichrist system. Absolutely.
That's it. We've all been deceived. We're all born dead in trespasses and sins again. It's like it takes forever. It seems.
And that's so obvious. Look at the pentagram of Hygiea. It's so obvious. It's the same as the Church of Satan. So what do we expect? Or the Baphomet. What do we expect with the Caduceus and the system and the symbol of Hygiea, the goddess of sanity? My. Really? Back to Hygiea.
Talk about graven images, Michael.
Yeah.
Can you get more graven than that? Then?
How obvious shall it be? We are talking about science is the new religion because they sell it as science. Actually, it's worship of pagan gods.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they are totally correct if they have administered this poison to that. We see that will kill your disease, but it will kill you too. So is that an art which kills people? Usually, I would call it murder.
Isn't that interesting right there? The quote that says, Hygeia was used as a greeting among the Pythagoreans. Excuse me, the Pythagoreans.
Yeah, health. Yeah, so good. Wishing you health. Yeah, Hygeia. Yeah.
Well, why would they greet like that? So they could say, "Oh yeah, I am professed in the doctrine. Are you? Oh yes, of course. Oh yes, so we can be friends."
I promised you it will get worse.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, please.
Yeah. Statues of Hygeia were covered by women's hair and pieces of Babylonian clothes. She was often depicted as a young woman feeding a large snake that was wrapped around her body. Yeah. There are some big snakes. How do they kill? By wrapping the victim. Yeah, exactly. I don't think that is very healthy when you have a big snake around your body.
Playing with death, Michael.
Yeah, Greco-Gallo-Roman, you see, everything is connected. Everything is connected. Yeah, you see, if you this is the German portion of the script. Sometimes I was very workaholic here. Yeah. So we are quoting here from Pausanias' description of Greece, 832. At Megapolis, Arcadia, there's a sanctuary of Asclepius with images of the god and of Hygeia. So the Hippocratic Oath is an oath of, I know that it is twisted here in the script, not twisted by the serpent, but because I had to copy it somewhere. So we are switching back and forth between Hygeia and Hippocrates. I beg you for some understanding that it takes so much time to do the scripts. So the Hippocratic Oath is an oath of ethics historically taken by physicians. Nowadays, in Latin, it would mean doctor. We have sorted that out in the last session. It is one of the most widely known of Greek medical texts. In its original form, it requires a new physician to swear by a number of, you see that here? Healing gods. Wow, how Christian is that? To uphold specific ethical standards. The oath is the earliest expression of medical ethics in the Western world, establishing several principles of medical ethics, etc., 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 etc. The original oath was written in iconic Greek between the 5th and 3rd centuries before Christ. So in the time where almost the time when the Greek Empire was ruling the world. What happens now?
Polytheism.
Although it is traditionally attributed to the Greek doctor Hippocrates and it is usually included in the Hippocratic corpus, which means body, most modern scholars do not regard it as having been written by Hippocrates himself. Oh, how can that be when it is named the Hippocratic Oath? You won't find the truth here. Hello. You won't find the truth in that system. And because everybody is lying to you, is making up, oh, this is a god, this is a goddess, this is a demigod, this is a thing, this is a legend, this is mystery, and oh. This is the very verse of the Hippocratic Oath. And I refuse to read it to you. But I will highlight it to you so that you really see what it is all about. No, that this is the actual, so I'm highlighted it blue. You see, Apollo, Asclepius, Hygeia, Panacea, gods and goddesses. This is what your doctor is doing, and you trust him? Doesn't that concern you a bit? If you compare that with Exodus 20, speaking of the 10 Commandments.
Wow, Michael. Very revealing. Very, very revealing. Exodus 20, verse 1 reads, "And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me.
Yeah, I cannot make it more clearer than this. I admit a snake is missing here.
Oh, this reminds me of Prince. You remember Prince, Purple Rain from here in Minnesota where I live? Man, family, Seventh-day Adventist, or something like that. I forget. What was he? Was he? I thought it was Seventh-day Adventist. Might be something else. I might be wrong.
I haven't checked him out so far.
Yeah, it's yeah.
And people have strange ideas.
Oh boy, don't they ever? Yeah, it's a shame, you know. Oh boy.
It's, what is it? A Christian country? Oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my.
No, it's a deceived country, Michael.
In a Christian country, this would not be set up. This would be burned. Nobody would. Yeah. Nobody even would dare to print it. But it's actually
but the thing is, Michael, it proves a point. And the point is the doctrine is so bad. It is so bad that people resort to this. Yeah.
This is the continuation of the oath. When he is in need of money to share, etc., 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 etc. I will do no harm or injustice to them. Oh, that has a big conflict potential nowadays. Neither will I administer a poison to anybody when asked to do so, nor will I suggest such a curse. Oh yeah. Well, pharmakeia, anybody? But I think the point is clear, huh? That this is a serpent medicine. The new genetics, man into Superman. Oh, that will come up. Because the snake has to fulfill his promise, or wants to fulfill his promise. You shall surely not die. You need a transplantation. You need to be transhuman. What else? I don't know what they will come up in the future, but I think that everybody who has sworn a Hippocratic Oath should be considered not to taken seriously, because he's been sworn or been swearing to an Antichrist system. Holy secrets, in this, holy secrets in the Hippocratic Oath, Somebody who has taken medicine very seriously was the Hungarian Ignaz Philipp Semmelweis. I don't think that the name is quite recently. And he said that it's just about washing your hands. Problem is that he wasn't very popular in his days, because doctors usually thought that the illness were being created by smells, as far as I have learned on Wikipedia. So he died at the age of 47 in Vienna under unspecified circumstances. You won't find it in the English description, only in the German, during a 2-week stay in a psychiatric clinic, Döbling State Insane Asylum near Vienna. Numerous contradictions and inconsistencies indicate, in addition to the exhumation report from 1963 and the motives for its removal, to arbitrary psychiatric treatment and a subsequent homicide. But a doctor would not harm anybody. Or would he? Would he? If you're not according to the current doctrine, you have a severe problem. He was severely beaten by several guards, secured in a straitjacket and confined to a darkened cell. Apart from the straitjacket, treatments at the mental institution included dowsing with cold water and administering castor oil, a laxative. He died after 2 weeks on August 13, 1865, age 47, from a gangrenous wound due to an infection on his right hand, which might have been caused by the struggle. The autopsy gave the cause of death as pneumonia, blood poisoning. Been talking about in this book here, Carter, childbed fever. Yeah, there you got it. I take this very seriously. The dirt of hand washing. So it's about Hygiea, actually. So the doctors or the people who have brought him into the mental asylum, they didn't know about hand washing in Hygiea? I thought they were all into the medicine. The tragic death behind a life-saving act. So this is just a forecast for the things to come when we have left medicine and we are going on to the path on the Middle Ages until the recent time, how problematic it is when you are against the actual doctrine. The legacy of Dr. Semmelweis. Somebody who took sanity and somebody who took Hygiea very serious. He said, God only knows, he said, I don't know which God, God only knows the number of patients who have gone to their graves prematurely by my fault. Because he discovered that doctors who have previously treated and observed and touched corpses, dead corpses, then went on to a birth of a child, and many childs died because of approximately bacteria. And he advised people to wash their hands when they come out of the morgue. And then when a woman has delivered a baby. That's it. That's not very I'm not sure. This is not outlandish or extraordinary. This is quite usual. This is logical thinking. You don't need a medicine certificate to come up with this. Yeah, but then he was delivered in the mental hospital and most likely killed. Most likely killed. In the mid-19th century, doctors were routinely performing autopsies and then examining mothers or delivering babies, all without washing their hands. My, haven't they heard about Hygiea or what? So he developed a hand-washing technique using a chlorine solution, which he insisted that every person, student and physician working in his ward used to rinse their hands. Yeah, that's it. And I don't like these indications everywhere because they can easily be manipulated. But allegedly, after he invented the chlorine hand wash, the number of dead young babies or children, especially, they dropped significantly. Okay, just a foreshadow of the things to come. Semmelweis with the Pentagon, great. But nevertheless, it is very actual because you see that we are being ordered to wash our hands. Huh? Yeah. Within 2 weeks in the mental hospital, Ignaz Semmelweis, the tortured godfather of hand washing, died of generalized sepsis, the same kind of infection that took the life of countless women who had died at Vienna General. He was 47. And very recently, he was the subject of a Google Doodle because everybody's into washing their hands nowadays. But nobody, or almost nobody, except me or we, are talking about the murder of Ignaz Semmelweis, or of Hygiea, or of the Hippocratic Oath. Because people are too busy. sometimes I'm a little bit desperate, because you see that what I am coming up here with should be general knowledge. It's not far-fetched and it's not easy to research.
Mm-hmm. That's true, Michael. It isn't easy, but it sure is worth it.
You see, the creation will be mocked by E.T., even by Steven Spielberg. E.T., the extraterrestrial. Ah, like a finger from a god. Ah. Isn't that obvious, the symbolism? And now then unite to prevent and unite to cure, exploring the mind, body and soul with the Vatican Conference in 2021 with the flag of the Vatican, or the two keys of the Vatican. So it has been sealed with the key of the spiritual and the material. Power. Unite to prevent. Yeah, so the Vatican says that God needs a glove. Isn't that shocking? Even if you would be, I don't know, Orthodox, Roman Catholic, or what else, that the Vatican actually depicts that God needed a glove, or needs a glove in these days. What is that kind of a God who needs a glove? People should be outraged by this poster, but I don't see or don't hear anything about it because the media is controlled, we know. But I would be outraged if I would be in the Vatican and I see that kind of symbolism where I'm absolutely sure that this resembles that picture here, the creation of Adam.
Well, Michael, thank God you're not in the Vatican. Thank God. Oh,
yeah.
I feel sorry for the poor souls that visit that place. I really do. Because guess what? I visited there too. And I was totally ignorant.
This picture speaks for itself.
Oh, this is great.
I needed many hours for the script this week.
This is great. Need we say any more?
Need we say any more? One picture tells it all. My parents are hurting my immune system. My. Honey, if your parents weren't there in the first case, you would never have existed. My.
Never mind the commandment that says to honor your mother.
Yeah, that too.
Your parents, I mean.
My. Yeah, you see, Alexandria was the main city of the Greek colony, of course, where all the wisdom was in the books, or the so-called wisdom. Egyptian history is related in the time of Ptolemy, Philadelphos, the historical pharaoh of Egypt. They were brought from Ethiopia to Alexandria 2 live dragons, and that one of them was 14 cubits long, the other 13, and in the time of Ptolemy Euergetes, 3 were brought. One was 9 cubits long, the second 7, and the third snake 1 cubit less. And Egyptians assert that they were tended with great care in the temple of Asclepios. 2 live dragons. Dracula, anybody? Dragons in Greek mythology, I looked up today. The word dragon derives from the Greek drakon and its Latin cognate draco. Ancient Greeks applied the term to large constricting snakes. Isn't that interesting? So snakes means dragon. The Greek drakon was far more associated with poisonous spit or breath than the modern Western dragon, though fiery breath is still attested in a few myths. And there is also a female, Draconia. Hi there, I'm a she-dragon. Now you see where it all leads to. It has everything has to do with the snake. Otherwise, the Greeks are not satisfied. It must be a snake, because only the snake gives wisdom. Yeah, the only thing you get from the snake are dead idols and images to worship. No, I find it so obvious. Every time I go into somebody, be it Hygiea or Asclepios or what else, yeah. Every time it's the same. Temple of Asclepios, snakes, and in Greek they are called drakon, like a dragon. Yeah. And they have philosophy and Ptolemy, and Claudius Ptolemy was a mathematician, geographer, and astrologer. Calling Greek Claudius or Ptolemaeus. We could go endless in the things, and also this is the Greek, this is the Alexandrian library. I think we have covered that. This is Ptolemy. Let us finish. Let us finish here. I think I have to look it up if something is. Oh, this is yeah. This has been copied twice. This is very good, so that we can save a lot of time. Yeah, we did it. We did it. The Hippocratic Oath. I swear to Apollo. Yeah, great. Yeah. And that's the interpretation. Yeah, this is the oath. Yeah, you see it here. A Greek manuscript, 12th century Greek manuscript. So 1,800 plus years old, or 900. The physician mentions the obligation to keep the holy things of medicine within the medical community, not to divulge secrets. Wow. Now you know why you don't know the consistence and the ingredients of the vaccines. Physician is Greece, means doctors in Latin. Holy things. Oh, isn't that kind of a worship when they are speaking about holy things, Brett?
Yeah.
Must be.
Veneration, yes.
It also mentions the special position of the doctor with regards to his patients, especially women and girls. Yeah. Providing poisonous drugs would certainly have been viewed as immoral by contemporary physicians if it resulted in murder. However, the absolute ban described in the oath also forbids euthanasia. Several accounts of ancient physicians willingly assisting suicides have survived. And now, providing poisonous drugs would certainly have been viewed as immoral by contemporary physicians if it resulted in murder. Okay. So, why do you have to put your signature to a doctor before he treats you or he is operating you? You see, this whole system is rotten to the core. The oath has been modified numerous times. Oh, great. Oh, we need another modifying. Oh, we need another law. Oh, we need another extension. In Germany, during the Third Reich, speaking of the Council of the Gods from IG Farben, medical students did not take the Hippocratic Oath, although they knew the ethic of nil nocere, which means do no harm. But they don't care. If you know something, then it's okay, but it doesn't say that you follow the guidelines. In the 1960s, the Hippocratic Oath was changed to require utmost respect for human life from its beginning, meaning that abortion is okay. So I would read it. It's not okay for me, but for them, making it a more secular obligation not to be taken in the presence of any gods, but before only other people. When the oath was rewritten in 1964 by Louis Lasagna, academic dean of the School of Medicine at Tufts University, the prayer was omitted, and that version had been widely accepted and is still in use today by many US medical schools.
Mr. Lasagna.
Yeah.
You ever have lasagna?
Hungry? American physician and professor of medicine known for his revision of the Hippocratic Oath. Harvard Medical School.
Oh, Veritas. Oh.
Yeah, truth.
From the, what, beast?
Yeah, and then he joined the faculty of Johns Hopkins University, where he established...
Oh, we don't know that place. No.
Where he established the first ever clinical pharmacology
coat of arms, Michael. Yeah.
Yeah, he taught medicine and pharmacology. He taught pharmacy. He taught pharmacare. He taught pharmacare at Johns Hopkins until 1970. Here that is his. You see, Lasagna. No, sorry, Lasagna. I'm really sorry. Lasagna taught medicine and pharmacare at Johns Hopkins until 1970. Yeah, that makes him the absolute authority when it comes down to the Hippocratic Oath. Speaking of poison. Wow. This oath in the 1964 Louis Lasagna version says, I swear to fulfill to the best of my ability and judgment this covenant. Oh, I said, no, this is a worship once again.
Man. Whose covenant?
Yeah,
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Wasn't it God Almighty that makes covenant with men?
Oh, that was so long ago. People don't remember, Brad. He said, I swear to fulfill. I will respect the hard-won scientific knowledge, gnosis, gains of those physicians, doctors means, in whose steps I walk, and gladly share such gnosis as is mine with those who are to follow. I will remember that there is art to medicine as well as science. You see, science. Science is a new religion because there is a covenant and there is an oath. And it has something to do with Hygiea and with Hippocrates and with Asclepius, etc.
Isn't that interesting there, what that sentence you skipped over where it says nihilism? You know, why would we need nihilism?
Yeah, when it's all comes down.
Is it therapy? They're applying nihilism as a therapy?
It is impossible to cure people or societies of their ills through treatment. So it is absolutely in vain. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it is just about placebos or so, I don't know, I'm not... in medicine, anyway. It was connected to the idea that many curses do more harm than good. And that one should instead encourage the body to heal itself. Yeah, we talked about that before. So the doctor in that case might give you a placebo. So that you think that, so that would you see that you're catching me unaware, you see. Yeah.
Well, no, it's just that we know what nihilism is, but therapeutic nihilism is just such a odd term.
Yeah, people expect that the doctor can help them and will treat them and will cure them. So if the doctor cannot help you, but he doesn't want to lose his authority.
I get it now. You're being nihilistic to the Hippocratic Oath. That's what it means. Because you're giving a placebo, you're not giving the poison.
It doesn't show the term placebo here in the Wikipedia.
But the way you explain it, Michael, that's all.
That was my first thought. I don't know if
it's true or not either, but hey, this seems to make sense. But yeah, you see, because a heretic is a heretic. Are you going to worship Christ and Christ alone? Then everyone that doesn't do that is a heretic to Christ, right?
This is a very interesting sentence here. You see that in his book Medical Nemesis, Illich claimed that the great increase in life expectancy and public health experienced in his era was due to improved nutrition and sanitation rather than innovation in drugs and medicines. Brad, that's a bomb here. That's a bomb. That would mean, we can modify it here. In his book Medical Nemesis, I have to look up when Illich lived. When does this man lived here? Illich. Come on. This is.
Go to the top. It will say.
Ivan Illich. Okay, so
it's 1830s.
Yeah, we get it.
Oh, wait, am I right?
1926 to 2003, Roman Catholic priest, theologian, philosopher, and social critic.
Illich. Oh, okay. I see.
Okay, so sorry, this was wrong. This is Ivan Illich. That's the man here. Okay. Ivan Illich here. So he's not a doctor. He's a priest and a theologian and a philosopher. So he said a very interesting quote, dear listeners. Please give me that time. Ivan Illich was there it is. In his book Medical Nemesis, Ivan Illich claimed that the great increase in life expectancy and public health experienced in his era, so the 20th century, was due to improved nutrition and sanitation rather than innovation in drugs and medicines, including vaccines. Because most pestilences, etc., they occurred when there was no sanitation and and very bad nutrition, if there would ever be some nutrition at all. Speaking about the Spanish flu, for example, at the end of the First World War, where sanitation was an all-time low and nutrition shares the same fate. It's a very interesting, might be a very interesting book, that Medical Nemesis. He also believed that there was an excess of physicians, surgeries, and prescriptions. Very interesting. I just found it. Sorry, I just want to share that. Didn't want to prolong the session, but I just found that. So you see that now the gods have been excluded here. So they were included, now excluded. Now it's about scientific.
Thanks to Mr. Lasagna. I wanted to.
No, lasagna. Yeah, lasagna. It's hard to pronounce for me sometimes. Yeah, that is a very interesting quote, I think.
By the way, I'm not too much into lasagna anymore, Michael. It was more of a youth thing, I think.
Yeah. First of all, no oath is necessary if you have sworn allegiance to Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jesus Christ says, "Do not swear." So
correct.
All the people who are swearing the Hippocratic Oath in one version or another are no Christians. Yeah. But we're not living in antiquity, because in antiquity the punishment for breaking the Hippocratic Oath could range from a penalty to losing the right to practice medicine. Mm-hmm.
Sure.
There is, for example, a white coat ceremony.
To be conducted by a tribunal, I suppose. Huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you see that in the nowadays also there is a white coat ceremony, a ritual in some schools of medicine and other health-related fields that marks the students' transition from the study of preclinical to clinical health sciences. At some schools where students begin meeting patients early in their education, the white coat ceremony is held before the first year begins. It's an example of a matriculation. A ceremony means a religious ritual. The ritual is a recent invention, first being popularized in the 1990s. Isn't that something? A rite of passage, a layperson, and is similar, according to some, we do not know who some is, but
put it in blue.
white coat ceremony and options here.
Oh my.
I could go on and on and on and on and on on that subject here. Yeah. So, according to some, speaking white coat ceremonies from this source here, white coat ceremonies have taken on a quasi-religious significance which symbolizes a conversion of a layperson into a member of a healthcare profession and is similar to a priest ordination to the priesthood.
Alarm bell ringing.
What did we say? Religion is the new science, or science is the new religion.
Yeah.
It's right here in the face.
It is.
Although it is notable that the white coat is a recent adoption by the medical profession. However, in many medical schools around the world, students begin wearing their white coats during the first year anatomy class, so there's no official white coat ceremony. Then why is there a Wikipedia entry if there is none, huh? Sorry, but you see that sometimes people contradict themselves. Huh? Humanism and medicine, yeah, and you swear an oath. Yeah. Oh my. I think we have to finish it.
Yeah, there we go, Michael. Humanism.
Oh, we have forgotten the Declaration of Helsinki, a set of ethical principles regarding human experimentation, developed in 1964. Oh, wasn't it the same year that Mr. Lasagna then modified the oath of?
That sounds familiar. Yeah.
Sounds familiar for the medical community by the World Medical Association. Oh, it's a big club, and we're not in it. It is widely regarded as the cornerstone, okay, document on human research ethics. Yeah, but it's not legally binding. Yeah? So we can promise a lot, but we won't fulfill anything. And there also is a Nuremberg Code, a set of research ethic principles for human experimentation created by the USA. As result of the Nuremberg trials at the end of the Second World War, that was the case and the court and the time and the place where they had the trial about the Council of Gods of the IG Farben, by the way. So there's also a code about human experimentation and rituals, etc., etc. I think you will not be surprised when you learn that the Hippocratic Oath was also part of a Hitchhiker's Guide to Galaxy episode. But you see, there are numerous oaths for scientists. Yeah, oath. Yeah, so unchristian. Skip it. 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 Yeah, serving a lot of time because everything is science. Science forces a code. So please, Brad, close it down by that Bible verse.
Yes, 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 20. O Timothy, keep that which is committed to thy trust, avoiding profane and vain babblings and oppositions of science, falsely so called.
Thank you very much for having me. I hope that we could make some prolific points. And don't be blinded with science, because they try to blind you with science, which is in fact religion. And to blind someone with science means to confuse by the use of big words or complex explanations. Thank you very much for having me. God bless. I'm handing it over to my beloved brother, Brett.
Isn't that something, Michael? I've got Proverbs chapter 6 in front of me, and I think I would like to close on this. Proverbs chapter 6, verse 20. Let's start there and continue in there for a moment. Verse 20, Michael. My son, keep thy father's commandment, and forsake not the law of thy mother. Bind them continually upon thine heart, and tie them about thy neck. When thou goest, it shall lead thee. When thou sleepest, it shall keep thee. When thou awakest, it shall talk with thee. For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light, and reproofs of instruction are the way of life, to keep thee from the evil woman, from the flattery of the tongue of a strange woman. Lust not after her beauty in thine heart, neither let her take thee with her eyelids. For by means of a whorish woman, a man is brought to a piece of bread. What would that mean, Michael? And the adulteress will hunt for the precious life. Can a man take fire in his bosom and his clothes not be burned? Can one go upon hot coals and his feet not be burned? So he that goeth into his neighbor's wife, whosoever toucheth her shall not be innocent. Men do not despise a thief if he steal to satisfy his soul when he is hungry, but if he be found, he shall restore sevenfold, and he shall give the substance of his house. But whoso committeth adultery with a woman lacketh understanding. He that doeth it destroyeth his own soul. A wound and dishonor shall he get, and his reproach shall not be wiped away. For jealousy is the rage of a man. Therefore he will not spare in the day of vengeance. He will not regard any ransom, neither will he rest content, though thou givest many gifts. And that is the warning we are given in the book of Proverbs about many different principles about adultery, which is directly related with fornication. Because when you're young, if you fornicated, then you just go right in your adulthood and you commit adultery. It's a big, 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 big problem, and it comes from lust. It comes from the eyes, Michael, as we discussed in the beginning of the session. with the whorish woman and with idolatry and all that. So, yeah, Michael, we got a lot of lessons to learn, and they're not very nice and they're not very easy. But if we don't learn them, then we go to our grave, as it says, dead in trespasses and sins. And I think that's a very troubling place to be. And I hope you, dear listener, are willing to take the time and to walk on the narrow path away from false teachings dealing with the Bible. And we'll catch up with you next time. God bless and Maranatha.